guys, what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. As you can see behind me, we're in downtown Austin, Texas. Nothing bigger though than the media event going on for this vehicle. This is the 2022 all-new Toyota Corolla Cross. But before we get into this entry-level L trim of a crossover SUV, let's talk about what's going on here. Toyota, that Japanese brand, has built such a reputation on reliability, dependability, and value. Now with this Corolla Cross, it's not just a name game. We're not playing the name game here like some other brands like to do to try to increase sales. This vehicle, taking the Corolla nameplate and adding Cross, really adds that crossover SUV feel to the car that also can be available to you as a sedan or a hatchback. Now, what's interesting is that for many, many years, there was a vehicle that really did not get a lot of competition, and that is the Subaru Crosstrek. Basically, the Subaru Impreza wagon that was lifted with all-wheel drive. Well, guess what? It's not just a name game. It's not just a lifted Corolla, because we have this Corolla Cross, which has all-wheel drive as well. It's got the optional all-wheel drive in a base trim. So what I want to find out is this new Corolla Cross, is this the entry-level value crossover SUV with all-wheel drive that you should be buying over the Subaru Crosstrek, which many have called the Swiss Army knife of all vehicles? Let's go ahead, let's dive into our bright metallic silver Corolla Cross and find out. Right off the bat, the styling, one thing when you're comparing this to the Crosstrek is you're gonna get standard LED projector beam style headlights. Really think that they did a great job on the design. Also, if you look at the interior elements, the way they blacked it out, a little bit of shiny chrome gives some nice pop to it, where when you're looking at the Crosstrek, the way the headlight housings are, sometimes things just get lost because it's all one note. In the lower sections, we have smooth body lines, flat black. This is good news because this is going to take a better beating over time, coming across the flat black grille. So the L trim is going to have a flat black grille. You're going to have gloss black around the perimeter, that Toyota badge, and then as you work your way down, more bright metallic silver. Now the great news is, comparing this to the Crosstrek wins in the ground clearance war, but only by about 0.6 of an inch. This has about 8.1 inches of ground clearance, whereas the Crosstrek has 8.7 inches of ground clearance. But like I had mentioned, this has the optional all-wheel drive, which is available even on the base trim. And I definitely gotta applaud Toyota. Don't ask me, it's the Austin heat getting to me. I need a nice sweet tea right now to sip on down, but I definitely got to applaud Toyota for allowing the option of all-wheel drive even on the base. Now when we get up onto the hood, compared to the Crosstrek, very smooth body lines. You know, the Crosstrek has a little bit of a boxier look, a little bit more kind of plastic flat black at the front end. Now when we come around the bend, what are we working with? On our base entry trim, you are getting a 17-inch steel wheel with a hubcap. Now I know that may sound crazy in model year 2022. You can get a 17-inch aluminum alloy wheel if you go up to the XL trim. If you go all the way XLE, you'll get an 18-inch wheel. But comparing this to the Impreza, same story. You go base on an Impreza or a Crosstrek in our sense, you're gonna get a steel wheel with a hubcap, but at least you're getting 17-inch wheels, steel wheels. Style, it's clean, nothing really to write home about, but remember, this is the entry-level trim, so, you know, it's just one of those things that you want more, you could get more. 215 on the width and a super meaty 65 series sidewall. Now, front-wheel drive base, but it will shift to all-wheel drive when it's in that proper environment, whereas the Crosstrek has full-time all-wheel drive, that symmetrical all-wheel drive. But wait until we get to MPGs, that might surprise you. Flat black around the fender arches, which the Crosstrek has. We do have flat black on the mirror caps. They did go ahead though and color match the door handles, which are great. And you are gonna get the flat black on the bottom, and the good news is it doesn't come up too high, which is wonderful. Now, down the rest of the vehicle, you don't have any roof rails to keep a nice, smooth aero appearance. Flat black on the B pillar, working our way towards the rear. I do like the way there's no shiny metal chrome on this L trim, especially on the back portion, because it kind of just blends in nice and clean. You got the Corolla Cross name, love the size of the rear quarter window, the hard body lines, and coming around the back, what do we have? We have a short, stubby, low roof spoiler, flat black on the antenna, shark fin antenna, and then you'll see what we're working with our LED taillights, all-wheel drive badge, obviously the Corolla Cross name, and working our way all the way to the bottom, you're gonna get a simple lower bumper area and one exhaust on the passenger side. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and see what's powering our Corolla Cross. All right guys, we got the hood popped open. You do have a prop rod, but if we're comparing that to the Crosstrek, even Stevens, the Crosstrek has a prop rod as well. Underneath the hood, one engine choice, and that is it. Now the Crosstrek does have the optional engine choice on the Sport, but what are we looking at? We're looking at that 2-liter inline-4 naturally aspirated engine, 169 horsepower, 159 pound-feet of torque. It does have a CVT like the Crosstrek, but remember, the CVT transmission in the Toyotas has an actual first gear, so that definitely is a separator. 0 to 60 in the all-wheel drive is around 9 seconds. The vehicle weighs 3,350 pounds. Here's where it comes out a winner. All-wheel drive, 29 in the city, 32 on the highway. If you go front-wheel drive, you're looking at 31 mpgs in the city and 33 on the highway, and you can tow up to 1,500 pounds with this Corolla Cross. And like we're saying, this 2-liter inline-4 is a proven component built off that reputation for reliability. But why don't we go ahead, let's get to the interior and see how the Corolla Cross competes with the Crosstrek. All right guys, we're inside this all new 2022 Corolla Cross. This one being that L trim. We try to stick to what we do here and stick to what we promise, bringing you all the different trims. I know you're saying to yourself, well Joe, I've been looking at a Crosstrek. I even look at the Kona, but I didn't buy one because when I look at the Kona, it kind of makes my stomach hurt and I want to throw up and go to the bathroom. But how much is this Corolla Cross? So L trim is $22,195. If you want all-wheel drive like this one, that's a $1,300 option on top of it. So add the two together. Let's see what you get for the money to the door panels. What I do like is you're going to get the two-tone color motif. What you also are going to get on the L trim, it's all hard plastic. But I'm telling you, the two-tone color really does make it seem a little bit more on a higher level. The armrest is nice and soft, believe it or not, so that's great news. And there's no gloss black. Door pocket is a good size, one Bavarian pretzel, and an IBC root beer to wash it down. Going from the door panel to the dash, soft material here in the center, same exact trim. And if you want more out of your Corolla Cross, you could go up to the LE or the XLE. On the L, this is what we're working with, infotainment system. You're getting the standard 7-inch infotainment system. It is a touchscreen, which is really nice. You touch it, and then it goes through its functions. Very intuitive, easy to see. You throw it into reverse. The good news is your backup camera takes up all 7 inches. The bad news is there's no moving trajectory, just the solid lines, which this is an entry-level trim. Throw it back in the park, and we're right back again. They did a great job with making everything very smooth in the interior, fits well. You have your standard AC controls with the digital display. Nice, easy to get to. This particular one has the key ignition. So an L trim, I'm gonna go ahead and pull the key out. Here's your key fob, lock and unlock, and your panic button. And then you got the Toyota badge on the back of the key. Guess what? A base Crosstrek also has a key ignition. And kids, that's how we used to start up cars back in the good old days. You have a USB, a little cubby here for some Reese's peanut butter cups. You could actually put, I would say, about 16 Reese's peanut butter cups. And I know you're saying, well, Joe, what happens if the chocolate melts a little? You're gonna get it all in that compartment. Well, guess what? Toyota provides a Toyota napkin to fill up that space so you don't get the chocolate on the interior. Now that's smart engineering. You do have that transmission, the CVT, that's gonna control your CVT transmission. It does have that rubber style shift feel to it and the boot, but it looks clean. Just a little bit of gloss black that you're probably never gonna touch. Flat black on the rest, 2 cup holders. The one thing I hate, even though this is an L, is they put cloth on the armrest. They could have made this just rubber. It feels like sandpaper, but I guess the good news is if you have like a dry spot on your elbow, you could kind of sand it off on the armrest. Open it up, you got a USB and a 12 volt, and you could easily put, I would say, 8 Twinkies in there, and you're gonna be safe. Seats, they are cloth, but very, very durable, and I'm digging the design that they did. Obviously, manual adjustment for the passenger, manual adjustment for the driver. Plenty, good and plenty headroom space in here. I'm 6 feet tall, but why don't you come over to the business end? I want to show you behind the wheel in this Corolla Cross. All right, guys, business time in this Corolla Cross. I just want to show you something. Even though it's manual seat controls, watch how far back I could go. That's pretty freaking far back. I mean, Shaq could fit in here and feel good and not have to sit on the back seat like he normally has to. But I'll move the seat back up so you can see how comfortable I am. The L has a rubber style steering wheel. Now, the great news is it's gonna last forever. The bad news is it's not really the favorite thing to hold on to while you're steering this vehicle, but it gets the job done. You have all your familiar buttons, the Toyota Sensing 2.0 safety technology. They do give you a manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel, even in the L, and instrumentation, straightforward and simple. You have an analog speedometer, fuel gauge, tach, and coolant gauge, and then you have a digital display on the right, which is 4.2 inches in size, which gives you plenty of information to keep you entertained while you're driving your Corolla Cross. But why don't we go ahead, let's get in the back seat and see if your passengers are gonna be upset that you went with the entry trim. Let's go find out. All right, guys, backseat time in the Corolla Cross. One thing I want to showcase is the perfect placement of the cup holders, and we have for this media event, Toyota official water. You can't get that at your local dealership. Only we get to enjoy that Toyota water. But another thing we get to enjoy, tons of space, which you also get to enjoy if you go the Corolla Cross route. And I'm telling you, I'm 6 feet tall. I could grow a couple more inches and still feel good back in this backseat area. And it really is on par, maybe even a little bit more space than the Subaru Crosstrek. Bad news is back of the seat on the driver's side does not have a pocket. But what the good news is, you know, I always like to look at on the brighter side of things, no pocket, but you get standard rear AC vents. Now on the L trim, there isn't any connectivity, but I'm okay with that to try to keep that price point in check. I do have my own pocket over here, and what I'm gonna do is, there's a wonderful Authentico burrito stand right down the street. You could get 3 burritos in there. That sounds like one heck of a day in hot Austin, Texas, enjoying your Mexican burritos. But feeling good in the back seat area. The only major zonk, there's no center armrest. So you don't have anywhere to put your arm, but here's a little tip from me to you. I'm the oldest of 6 kids. If you have a younger brother or younger sister and you need somewhere to rest your arm, give them a jab in the side. When they hunch over in pain, you could use them as your armrest. But shh, I didn't tell you that. But why don't we go ahead, let's see how much cargo space we have for that next family fun trip in the Corolla Cross. All right, guys, cargo area time, real simple. Hit the button on the L trim. You're just gonna lift it up and it's nice feather light. When you get to the back, you're gonna see you have a lot of width, a lot of height, and the great news is they also provide these snack nooks. So you could go to Costco, get that big old bag of Lay's, and then over on the right side, get those Cool Ranch Doritos. Perfect for the next family road trip. Now, when you go all-wheel drive, you are losing a little bit of cargo volume. 24.3 cubic feet of space with the seats up in all-wheel drive, but it's real simple to maximize your space and just flip it right on down. You're just gonna hit the buttons. There you go. Now you could get that big screen TV from Costco. Why stop with just the snacks when you could get even more? And then look what we got. Lift it up. You're going to get that nice size spare. But you know what? It's not just about the space. It's not about the spare. It's about the driving experience. If you're ready to go on throttle, I'm ready to go on throttle in this Corolla Cross. All right, guys, we're inside this 2022 Corolla Cross, that L trim, but with the all-wheel drive. What I really think is great is that it doesn't necessarily drive like an entry-level vehicle, especially with the all-wheel drive. I mean, through this roundabout, the handling is really nice. It's gonna automatically send power to the rear wheels, and it doesn't wait for slippage to occur, which is awesome. So under hard cornering, it will send power to the rear wheels to help keep you planted even when you're going through some roundabouts or some twisty bit section. Of course, when you know, the climate changes and it gets snowy, or you're on gravel, or it's really raining bad, that all-wheel drive is going to keep you planted so you can get through just about anything. The ride quality is very comfortable. These cloth seats, even though they're cloth, like I said, a cloth seat doesn't have to be uncomfortable, and a cloth seat can actually wear very well, and I think these are gonna do a great job. But as we're driving over this bridge, on throttle, here we go. You're getting simulated shifts from the CVT. Not gonna win any races, but you know what? You're not gonna win any races in a standard Subaru Crosstrek either. But kind of on par with one another, going through this little twisty area. Kind of nice how it really gives good feedback to the steering wheel. You don't have different modes to go through, which is nice as well. Visibility out the windshield is great. Out the back glass is wonderful. The dash, even though you're not getting the larger 7-inch display from the XLE trim, it's easy to read with that speedometer smack dab in the center. Driving along in this Corolla Cross, it really has good proportions. It's gonna be obviously shorter than a RAV4, longer than a CHR, but I think it feels a little bit more substantial than a Subaru Crosstrek. Like, you have a little bit more vehicle around you, which is kind of nice. And when it comes to fuel economy, you're definitely gonna come out on top over the Crosstrek. I know the L has a 7-inch infotainment system, but I still think that's plenty large enough. Very intuitive, easy to use, and everything else just kind of comes together very smoothly on the highway here with those 65 series tires. You're not getting a lot of road noise, and it's a very comfy ride, which is awesome. Let's see how we handle into this left-hand bend on this highway here. On the brakes a little bit. That BMW really slowing up, but we don't have to because we got the all-wheel drive and we're feeling good here, that's for sure. Now we got to yield, of course, but I'm telling you, you got the Toyota sensing technology, which is great. And here we are pulling out on throttle. That's gonna be the one zonk, is I just wish there was a little bit more horsepower. But you know what? I say the same thing about the regular Subaru Crosstrek, but Subaru did deliver with more horsepower as an option, but there isn't anything like that for the Corolla Cross as of right now. All right, pulling away from the light. Obviously, gotta watch out for people just pulling out of every which way direction. Never a dull moment on Raiti's rides. But I'm hoping that this gave you a nice overall feel for what the new Corolla Cross brings at that entry price point level with the all-wheel drive. We're gonna get back to where this all started, right by the downtown city area in Austin, Texas. So I will see you in a cowboy second. All right, guys, it's been a wonderful time here in downtown Austin, Texas. I definitely gotta thank Zach, Nikki, Paul, the whole Toyota USA crew. They are such a great team and really support Raiti's Rides, letting us bring this to you in this National Media Day. So you tell me what you think. Has Toyota struck gold with this Corolla Cross, the design, the features, even at this base level trim with all-wheel drive to defeat the Crosstrek. Let me know which way you would go in the comment section. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raitis Rides family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you in the channel, click the first link, become a Raitis Rides Patreon member. Click the second link, get yourself some Raitis Rides merch. Got to give it up to the queen of the camera, Lori, working that camera like a champ. Show her some love in the comment section. Thank you, Lori, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.